What's up, guys? So today is going to be the first video of the Miata turbo build, and we got everything I have so far spread out right here. If you want to get a shot of that. So I'd say I have about 90% what I need, and honestly it doesn't look like I have that much. But right here's the turbo. It's a Nissan RB20 turbo. The guy that sold it to me was running about 14 pounds of boost with it. It's pushing about 200 wheel horsepower. I'm not going to be getting near 200 wheel horsepower because I am running Band-Aids. So there's the turbo. I also have a veggie oil line kit, and this right here is the oil feed, so it's actual stainless steel. It's not eBay, which is nice. And then I believe this is a veggie oil drain as well. Yeah, I think it is. So yeah, that's the oiling system. For the oil drain, we got the tap and the adapter for it. So we'll make a whole video on how to drill and tap your oil pan. So you just tap it, and then this goes in there for the oil drain. Next up, we got the all the intercooler piping, and there's not much of it, but basically, it's got this the blow-off valve already on there, and it's a recirculating blow-off valve. So basically, you take this hose and you run it to the air filter. You have to make sure that it runs before the mass airflow sensor, so it doesn't run too lean. And then if you're running Megasquirt, there's a little hole in there for a air temperature sensor. So yeah, we got that, and then we got, I believe it's a Mazda speed downpipe, because that's what the manifold is. I'm not quite sure, but it looks like a Mazda speed downpipe. So it's supposed to be a direct bolt on, and as you can see, it looks pretty damn good. So it's just got one bung right there. Probably gonna put a wideband in there. So that's that, and then we got the oil cooler, the intercooler. As you can see, it's a little bit beat up, but it still holds air apparently. So we'll hope for the best with that. Again, this came off. I know this came off a lot of speed. So today, what we'll be doing is installing this, and what this is a Jackson Racing boost timing controller. So you need one of these or something that does something like that if you don't want your engine to develop rod knock. And what this basically does is you hook this up to your ECU, and it alters the cam angle sensor. So, and you also hook up a boost vacuum line. So whenever you enter boost, it will start pulling timing. And if you don't have anything pulling your ignition timing, then you can develop rod knock because your engine, the ECU, is not designed for boost. So yeah, that's that, and today we'll be installing this. It should be pretty easy. If you actually got the kit, you don't even have to solder it, but I got this used, and I'm pretty sure they don't make these anymore. So I paid 20 bucks for this. So this whole build is coming together really damn cheap. I think right now I'm at about $700. So the only thing I don't have right now is a rising fuel rate regulator, and I have that coming in the mail. I paid 100 bucks for that. And yeah, so we'll make a video on all this stuff, but again, today we'll be installing this. Alright guys, so the first step to doing this, it really depends on what your Miata you have, but since I have a 94, the ECU is actually located behind the passenger seat. So the first step is to move your seat forward and find your ECU. So I don't know if you can get a shot of this, but the ECU is just right under this carpet. And it's been accessed many, many times by me. So, yeah. There might be some clips you have to mess with, but the ECU is right here. With this boost timing control unit, you actually disconnect the connector right here, and I believe there's 2 wires that you splice into. So we're gonna be cutting 2 or 3 wires and just splicing into it. And I got the instructions right here too. Before you do anything, you want to disconnect the battery, and it's always good to disconnect the negative side of the battery, because we're messing with the ECU and you don't want power going through it. So, yeah.
Wire, it has a map of the whole car and everything.
That's nice. Alright, so I actually print out the installation instructions, and it's really straightforward. So, here's the wiring diagram for it. And this all depends on what your Miata you have. I have a 94. So it's literally 2 wires. So you got 2 wires coming out of here, basically. And this one is for the switch. And then you got this one going to your ECU. So it's literally color coded. This is pretty damn simple. So it asks for the white and red. You give it the white and the red. So I'll do a link in the description for the instructions. Like I said, these aren't really made anymore, but you can still find them for sale. I got mine for 20 bucks. And before anybody says, how do you get all these good deals? Well, shop around. I went to Miata swap meet, and there's a whole box of these for 10 bucks, but a guy bought it before I could. So I bought this one off of him for 20 bucks. Still a really good deal, considering these are like worth $100. So, yeah.
It's a good deal, Dad.
It is a good deal. I could like flip this on eBay, but
At $10 box, I sold you one for 20.
yeah, like this guy was selling a
He's
box
smart.
of 4 of these, and Rye's about to pay for it. The guy said, "Oh, I already bought it." So I went up to him. I was like, "Hey man, I'm trying to boost my Miata. Can you help me out?" He's like, "Yeah." And like, "Can I do 20 bucks for one of them?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." So, like I said, first one we're gonna do is the white and red. So, white and red wire of the BTC, of the boost timing controller, to the white and red wire of the ECU. So you go to the ECU, and we're doing this wire right here. And you can disconnect the what do you call it? The connector from the ECU, but it doesn't really matter. So what we're gonna do? Take some snippers. Hopefully this is the right wire. That kind of sucked.
Yeah, it would suck a lot.
Yeah. And then you want to get as much room on it as possible. So we're gonna do it right there. You getting a good shot of that? Alright, so that's cut. Alright, so once you cut the wire, you want to strip the wire back a little bit, and you really do need wire strippers, but I don't have any. I probably do, but I can't find them. So I'm just going to use a pair of dikes. Same thing, except this. So you just want to take that and take a little bit off of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wire that's connected to the ECU, and I'm going to hold it with some pliers. That way, whenever I'm stripping the wire, I don't yank the wire out of the connector. So you just want to take that and just, if I can get a grip on it. You gotta be careful, you don't want to cut the wire too short, because then you're just gonna have to run a new wire in there. It's a pain in the ass. This fucking wire is like 20 years old. There we go. I think I almost got it. Okay. So there's a white and red wire. Now you gotta do the same thing for the other end. If I can actually grab it. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Alright guys, so this white and red wire is actually the 12 volt power source, and basically what's happening is we're taking the wire coming from the wiring harness and the wire coming from the ECU. We're connecting those two with the wire, the white-red wire that comes off the boost timing controller. So basically we're cutting a wire apart and reconnecting them with the boost timing controller wire in there, if that makes sense. So basically there's 3 wires being soldered together, and all it's doing is it's giving the boost timing controller 12 volts, if that makes sense. So it's also a switched 12 volt power source, so whenever you turn your car on, that wire will get power, and so will the boost timing controller. You could run the 12 volt wire off the boost timing controller to the battery, but then it'd constantly be on and it would drain your battery. So this is the best way to do that. And I'm not gonna go deep into how to solder, but I'll just do like a little basic like reminder on it. So whenever you're soldering 3 wires together, it can be a little bit tricky, especially if you only have 2 hands available. But what you want to do is you want to twist both wires so they're not like frayed at all. And then you want to heat them up with the soldering iron. And how long you need to heat it up depends on your soldering iron, but this is a pretty good one, so it doesn't take very long. And then you want to take some solder and just lightly touch the wire with it until it starts flowing. Now these are some thicker wires because they're it's the 12 volt power source, so it might take a little bit longer, as you can see. And you don't want to overdo the solder, you want just enough on it. And as you can see, it's taking a long time. Alright, so now that we got that, I guess the term for it is tinted, pretty sure. We're going to go ahead and take the ECU and do the same thing to it. Alright, so again, you take the white-red wire, which is your power source, And this was uninstalled from someone's car, so it actually had the kit like splice on there. But we're just gonna chop it off. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna cut this splice off. For my purpose, I don't need this. So, and then again, you just want to cut off a little bit, not too much. All right, and then we'll do the same thing to this wire. Watch it get solder in my car. Let's see. And then last but not least, you want to take some heat shrink. Now, this heat shrink is freaking huge. You need to use smaller heat shrink, but it's all I got, so I'll make it work. Some heat shrink's better than no heat shrink. Alternatively, you can use electrical tape, but this can like unroll. So, but at least use some of this. I'm gonna use both just to make sure everything's good. So you want to take the heat shrink and we can put it on. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and put it on here, I guess. Alright, so now we're just going to go ahead and connect everything. As you can see, you have to get all three of these wires together, and it's not going to be easy, but we'll see. I might have to get Seth over here. Yeah, this isn't happening. Hey, Seth, I need your help. Alright, I gotta solder 3 wires together. So it's this wire to this wire to this wire.
What?
And just
this one.
you don't want. Okay. Alright, let's have those.
These?
Yeah, and then this one. If you can get all 3 of those together, I'll solder them. And then that wire has to be connected too.
I'm saying get these started.
Okay. It's gonna get really freaking hot.
I can't see. Go.
Alright. So flowing? I can't see it. Oh shit. Yeah, I got some pliers here if you want to use the pliers. I'll hold this one if you can hold that one. I have to get closer.
I wasn't even holding it. You're gonna need more solder.
Fuck. You want to add some?
Yeah.
Alright, so we got this connection done. Wrapped in electrical tape. All professional, whatnot, kind of. And if I can find the splices, where do I put the splices? I do it. Little blue tool. Blue looking thing. Right here. Okay, good deal. Alright, so the next wire you want to cut is the only white wire on the ECU, which is this one right here, as you can see. And so the wire leading to the ECU connects to the green/white wire. And this was already soldered, so I'm gonna cut that part off and recut it right there. Alright, and then take some heat shrink. Slide that bitch on there. Wait, wrong one. Slide that bitch on there. So I'm assuming by white they mean this one.
Is it white?
Yes.
Well, that should be.
That should be it. Okay, so we're gonna take this wire.
It's a good assumption.
And we're gonna cut that hoe off, and we're just gonna strip it, like your mom did last night. And if you want to come in here, Seth, and hold these nuts, it'd be greatly appreciated. Okay.
Hold this wire.
Yeah, just hold it right like that. All right, let me get in. Hold it still. Be gentle.
It's kind of hard.
I know.
I just want to move it around.
It's getting hot in here. So this should be the easiest connection of them all. You just gotta put 2 and 2 together. Okay, I'll add more. Oh, got. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. It's good. Alright. So that's it for the wiring.
That's you, Antonio.
And I know it's kind of confusing to listen to me say green/white, white, blah, 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 blah. So I'll put the link to this in the description if you do happen to get the same unit. And yeah, so that's done. The only thing we have left to do, well, we have 2 things left to do, but we gotta attach the switch. So what's cool about this is it comes with this little knob right here, where you can actually adjust how much it retards it. So like I said earlier, it has a vacuum port running into the controller, so it knows how much boost you're running. And what you do on here is you can basically adjust how many degrees of retard you have for each pound of boost, and I believe it maxes out at about 2 degrees per psi, I think. So yeah, basically you adjust. I'll get into this in later videos when the car's actually running, but you adjust it until you don't hear knock, and that's about it. So very handy to have. I'm happy I got this feature with it. So yeah, you don't really need a wiring diagram to wire this up, considering they're literally color coded. So someone just snipped them off when they sold it to me, and all I have to do is wire it back up with the colors. So I'm not gonna film this part. Do the same thing, heat shrink it, and yeah, guys. So go ahead and do that. All right, guys. So the last step to this is to like make sure all the connections are good. So my car's a 94, so it actually came with a high-powered hair dryer. What you want to do is you want to plug this in. So you just put the heat shrink where you want it, and the hair dryer will do the rest. Alright, now as I mentioned earlier, this heat shrink is a little bit too big, as you can see, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap each one in electrical tape. So yeah, guys, that's basically how you install a boost timing controller. If you get like a different brand, it might differ. But yeah, so I just Velcroed this thing on there. You can drill into the frame, but I just put Velcro on it. And the last thing you're going to do, which I'm not going to do yet, is run a vacuum line from here to the engine bay. So whenever I throw the turbo in, I can just hook that vacuum line up. And the other thing I did off camera was the switch. So again, I just use Velcro, and I'm going to put the console back in and make it look all nice. Yeah, so I just got the switch right there, and I can adjust it and whatnot. And that's about it. You take the wire. What was it? The white slash, no, I never did that. Good thing I can edit this. Hold on. 1 second.